There is not someone better. There is not, I would submit to you that there's not a developer better that's doing 2.5D. Now you say, Andrew, slow down, buddy. Did you forget about Diablo? Diablo 4, Activision Blizzard? Come on, man. Okay. Fine. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this video game podcast for adult gamers. It is the Andy B Show. It's another week. It's another me. It's another you. It's another time where you could have played some video games, and maybe you did. I played a little bit this week. It's at a work conference out in sunny? What do they say about Las Vegas? I don't think they say sunny. You let me know what you think they say about Las Vegas, because I need a little bit of help. And I will say that, yeah, there's a whole different type of gaming that you do out there. And they have these wall-to-wall, top-to-bottom, floor-to-ceiling screens where you put money in, and maybe you get money out. That's not why I was there. I was there for work. But there were a lot of people playing video games in Vegas. But I got home late Friday and found my way into a brand new actual video game, real life, called Hades 2. Maybe you've heard of it. It's a sequel to Hades. And that sounds just preposterous to me when I say it out loud, because Supergiant Games has never done a sequel before. It's their first one. And so for them to do a sequel of Hades means that they liked something so much about that gameplay that they're like, we figured it out. We got the formula. People are dialed into what we're doing with the Greek pantheon and the underworld and just the crispest dialogue in video games. And they said, we got to do it again. So they went in early access sometime last year. I think it was maybe late 2024, certainly almost all of 2025 that I can remember, that Hades 2 has been in early access. I've resisted reading anything about it. I've resisted watching a bunch of trailers about it, except for just the most recent ones where they were announcing that the game is launching in 1.0. That means they're going to take it out of early access and release it on both PC or Mac and Switch, Nintendo Switch 1 and 2. And if you have a Nintendo Switch 1, then you can get the Nintendo Switch 1 version. I think it's $30 US. And the Nintendo Switch 2 is also $30 US for the Switch 2 edition, which runs at not 60 frames per second, but 120 frames per second. And you say, Andrew, who cares? Like, it's not a first-person shooter. Why does it need to be so fast? Welcome to Hades 2, where the combat is a huge part of what's going on. Just absolutely wild. And it doesn't, like, I can't say that the combat videos almost do it justice. Like, it's more of a feel kind of game, I think, than a show kind of game. Like, it looks neat. I like the way it looks. But you, I think, really have to feel it. Yeah, like, I don't think you can just play the game, or rather watch the videos of the game and feel like you're getting all of it, because I don't think you are. It moves very fast. It needs not only the 60 frames per second, but now that I'm playing at 120 frames per second on a 120 frames per second compatible television, it only works when you're doing it in the TV docked mode, which is going to lead me to a confession about a purchase I've made that's probably getting delivered at any moment as I record this show. We'll talk about what I might have purchased. But yeah, it needs the speed. There's something about the way that it plays, where every extra little millisecond that you have kind of matters. And so, yeah, it is absolutely moving fast. And like the first game, when you boot it up and you see the menu running at 60 frames per second, or in the case of a docked handheld connected to 120 frames per second TV, you see you're running 120 frames per second, you're like, I'm instantly sucked in. Like, this instantly looks amazing. I have to play it. And if you're not familiar with Supergiant games, they've been making 2.5D viewpoint games for like, that's all they do. Bastion, Pyre, which I never played. And they had the one with red. It's like cyberpunky. I played a little bit of it on a stream one time. I said I was going to beat the whole game that way, but then life's been busy. I might still I might fulfill that promise and beat the whole game on a live stream, but I never finished it up. I'm trying to remember the name of that game now. But, and then Hades, and now Hades 2. Transistor was the other one. I had to go look it up. I couldn't let that stand. Transistor. They've been playing in like 2.5 dimension for a while. Every game they've made, and they have really perfected it. There is not someone better. There is not, I would submit to you that there's not a developer better that's doing 2.5D. Now you say, Andrew, slow down, buddy. Did you forget about Diablo 4, Activision Blizzard? Come on, man. Okay, fine. They've been doing it for longer. But I think that most people that are into this game, and you got to make sure that you're not into multiplayer, because Diablo's got multiplayer now, and it's been I have played hundreds of hours of Diablo 1, 2, 3, and 4. Maybe thousands if you add it all. Maybe hundreds of hours per game. Maybe we're up to 1,200 hours per Diablo game, or total. So franchise-wise, it's been around longer. But up until Hades, like Supergiant Games really made a story in their games. They were very much a story-based game developer. The gameplay mattered to them, like you could really tell. But they were willing to tell their story and let their game be the 15 to 20 to 30 hour game and just kind of have that be the case. But with Hades, they've moved into roguelite and roguelike games where it's designed to be replayable. And you're probably going to replay it a lot. They can stretch out the story that way. They can stretch out the length of the game that way. Some games do that to their detriment, because maybe the story is more thin than you'd like it to be. Maybe the gameplay isn't as good as you'd like it to be. And some games maybe should be a 4-hour experience or maybe a 10-hour experience. And so when you stretch it out, like, too little butter over too much bread, you might have a big problem. With Hades, though, and Hades 2, as I've probably put, 4 or 5 hours into it over the weekend so far, that the story is draped thick, just a tapestry of story, and the gameplay keeps getting deeper and feels incredibly satisfying. Usually when you unlock a new weapon in Hades, you go, I liked the last one. And that's how you feel every time you unlock a new one, which is a testament to the weaponing system. You're like, okay, this is fine, but I really was getting used to the last. And then you play a run or two and then die with the new weapon, and you're like, that's all I want to do is play with that weapon now. So they've got weapon design, they've got skill design. There's layers of systems and unlocks in here. You can get different arcana cards. You can unlock all the different boons from the Olympian gods that are up above having a big fight again, that are sending voicemails down to you that you can get via Charon. You can go to Charon's shop. And so if you're into Greek mythology, you might be into these games. And you go, oh, look at the combat. The combat looks so difficult. I got all these weapons and systems and unlocks, and people are min-maxing the damage. How am I going to do? Well, we talk a lot on this show at the NDB show about game difficulty and accessibility, and they've got one of the best options for making the games accessible. They have a god mode. They're all kind of like minor demigods. I don't know all the Olympian pantheon. I've learned more about the Olympic pantheon and the playing Hades, and now Hades 2, than I ever learned in school. Yeah. They have God mode. Well, God mode is not as you know it. God mode is not the Doom code where you just literally get invincibility. It makes you a little bit stronger. And every time you die, you get stronger. And the whole game is like you go as far as you can. Eventually, you're going to die. You're going to hit a wall. Something's going to happen to you. And then you're going to restart with some of the skills, abilities, knowledge. So some of it's you restarting, and some of it's the character in the game restarting with new things they've learned, right? So you both kind of level up along the way, if you will. So with God mode, though, every time you die, you get stronger until such time as you succeed or get past the point you were at. So it keeps the difficulty hard, but eventually it levels out. What you can do as a player and how hard the game gets will eventually find an intersecting point, and you'll succeed and get past it, and then you'll have some more difficult thing that'll come up. So the game is designed still, even with the easy mode, to not be, it doesn't just give it to you. It's not free damage. It's not no hit. It is somewhere in between where it's like you're still going to feel some of the push. You're still going to die. You need to die in this game, actually, so that you can get the story beats move along. Like if you were to have just a perfect playthrough, and I don't know if there's an achievement for that because I'm not playing it on Steam. I'm playing it on Nintendo, and there's no achievement system on Nintendo, which is fine. Bothers some people. There's probably an achievement for somebody like beating it in the first night. You know, you don't have days, you have nights, because it's like you're like hanging out with the moon goddess. I don't know. Celine. Anyway, maybe there's some type of an achievement for that. But I don't know if there is. But I would assume that somebody's going to figure out how to do it. They're going to learn everything and figure out how to do a perfect run, no hits. And it's possible to do that. Like if you're really good at the game, it's possible to probably have a perfect run. I'm never going to worry about that. But somebody might. And I don't know what would happen. Like I'm sure that Supergiant has figured out like there's going to be somebody that does this. What do we do? What happens to the story if, when? But for most people, you're going to die many, many times. And many of the game's mechanics, many of the game's upgrades, definitely the game's story beats are designed for you to come back to the little whispering wood where you resurrect and see your frog. You have this frog that hangs out with you in the tent, big bullfrog. Talk to them, confide in your frog, and then talk to all the people around the town that you've gathered and met and pulled back along the way and ask them to come join you in your journey and support you. Odysseus is there. You know, if you know Greek mythology, Odysseus is hanging out, for example. So it's designed for you to come back and talk to them and see what's going on and move the plot along. And that's where the genius of the game loop comes in. Every roguelike has this, where you go, I went as far as I could, I gathered up some materials, I died, and then when I got back to base, I upgraded something, and usually that's enough. Usually that's like plenty to go. If the game plays good, like, let me do it again. I got 0.2 more damage on every hit now. That's great. Let me try it again, see how much further I can get. So there's an inherent loop of like, let me get better and try the run again. Of course, the run's different every time in a lot of these games. So the better they are, the more stuff that's constantly drawing you to start another run. Well, when you die in Hades 2, in Hades, you get excited because you're like, actually, I kind of want to see, did all my plants in the garden grow? Because if they did, now I can make this new concoction that'll upgrade this new ability, that'll maybe create a way for me to get past this barrier I couldn't get past. So there's exciting mechanics to coming back. And then you start to care about these characters and you want to know where these relationships are going to go. Nemesis, the Greek god, maybe that's one of the children of Nyx. Again, I'm a casual, Greek mythology fan. But Nemesis is down there. At some point you meet Narcissus, the god of narcissism. He's in there. And there's fun takes in all the characters, but you want to meet them and see what's going on and hang out with them, and you can give them gifts and try and like befriend some of them. Some of them are always going to be harsh with you and they're not going to care about any of your gifts. But so when you die, you're excited to like see all the stuff. What else did I unlock? Who else is in the camp now? Where else can I go learn about somebody new or advance some little plot line or upgrade the camp? And then by the time you see everybody and talk to everybody in camp and you upgrade all the things and you click through all the menus and everything's moved along, then it's kind of moved you towards the edge of the camp where it's kind of like, well, let me start another run. Let me go again. And as soon as you start another run and go again, right at the beginning, there's usually a new plot point. Like it's usually one of the new Olympian gods comes in and gives you something exciting. Starting a run, there's always something neat. And so you're like, well, let me just and that's also when the game saves. So like, let me start a run so the game will save. But then I've seen something neat, or I've gotten a new benefit or a new bonus, or I met a new character. And as soon as you do that, you meet the new character, you get the new bonus. Whatever the first action is you take in that first room, you have to fight some enemies. Well, then you're fighting enemies again. And as soon as you fight those enemies with whatever the new boon was or new ability you got was, there's the door. And there's usually a door with just the one choice. And it's like, oh, there's the next reward. And so there's a reward at the end of every combat encounter. So every room you go into, you're going to fight or you'll meet a character. And then there's always a choice, one door, maybe two, sometimes three doors of where you're going to go next. And every one of those doors has a reward of some type behind them. And so you go, well, which reward would I like to pick? And so then you're picking a reward. Well, as soon as you do that, you're through the door. And then the next combat encounter begins. And the next, I'm hanging out with a new Greek, pantheon character begins. And so there's always something that's like pulling you to the next room. So like to quit, you have to just, I guess you have to pass out. Like I was up way too late last night. Like I just have to pass out because there's always something. Like just keep going, and you can't do that unless you have content like just falling out of your ear, like just so much game content that you can't even contain it all. Because otherwise, you wouldn't be able to spread it out like that. The game's designed for you to play through it. If start a run and during the night and then die hundreds or thousands of times. And at some point, you're going to see the main content. You're going to beat the big bad person, which apparently is Kronos, the god of time or whatever. And you meet them early on, like second or third run. You're like, Kronos is like, what's up? You want to fight? I'm going to lock you in a time chamber. So you start to get to kind of find the big bad. Now in the first Hades game, the big bad was your character's dad. So Zagreus was the first character, and Hades, the god of the underworld, was your father. And so you would see him, and that you're trying to get out of Hades to go find your mother, and that your dad is going to do everything he can to stop you, including finding you at the end of the trail and in fighting you. And like, this right away, like your character already knows. And so when you inevitably die to Hades or some other, smaller boss along the way, you respawn, you respawn back in Hades, and your dad, Hades, so named after the place or vice versa, is there waiting for you. And you're like, hello, hey Pops, I know we were just fighting up there, but how you doing? Let me try and befriend you. So it had this wild loop of like constantly seeing your nemesis, the person that was trying to stop you from moving forward, back at home. And then you'd go out on the road and eventually you'd fight him. So it was just the wildest setup. And this one doesn't have the same setup. It has you fighting Kronos, but then Kronos is kind of like warping in every so often to like, talk some mess and, make sure you're upset about things. And, you just create some plot points, like if the big bad and you never meet or talk ever and you're always separated, that's not nearly as interesting. This isn't Seven, like we don't need the secret reveal. Like just let's have the big bad and the good guys talk all the time. Yeah, so that is a video game that is called Hades 2. It's $29.99 US. I would only buy it if you're into that kind of game. So if you listen to this show and you're like, I've never wanted to play a 2.5D action story-based roguelike that has to do with the Greek pantheon, and then don't buy it. But if you like all the words I said, you might like it. Yeah, it's pretty great. I like it so much, and I like that it's this super high frame rate that I kind of want to play it on the TV, or where I play, some of the, after the kids go to bed. It's like I'll have, that hour of game time before the kids, after the kids go to bed, before I need to go to bed. And I'll play, if I'm playing like God of War or, some game that's a little bit tougher content, I'll play it in a private, in my office. But I don't have a Nintendo Switch in it. The Nintendo Switch is docked in the living room. And a dock is something that you can't buy separately. Like they're available in theory But the official Nintendo dock, I don't think is like, I couldn't find it on Amazon. Maybe it's available somewhere, but I couldn't find it. And I think it's like $100 or $150. Like, it's a non-insignificant piece of technology. It's got USB ports and USB port. I don't know why it costs so much. Why does it cost so much? It's like it's just a dock that holds the system upright, and it plugs in with USB-C. It's got another USB port, HDMI, power supply. I guess it has an Ethernet port. So we're up to a whole like $8 worth of like component costs to get a Nintendo Switch dock. But I think it's like the official one's like $100. But then you have to have another power supply, and you can buy those because I'm going like, well, I would like to dock the Nintendo Switch into my office TV, which is my even better TV. It's also 120 hertz, but it's that OLED, And if you're into video games, you might want an OLED screen. And I've only got one in the house because they are pricey. And I don't need that level of quality everywhere. But I have no way to plug in the Switch because you need a dock. You can't just plug it in with like an HDMI cable. So that sent me on a hunt, like on a search across the cold streets of Amazon.com to try and find a reasonable dock. And no surprise, there's 1,000 docks that are not the Nintendo dock out there. Widely ranging reviews. You really have to put on your critical thinking hat. Like, okay, that one has like 5-star reviews, but there's only 7 reviews. And this one has 3.9-star reviews, but there's like 4,000 reviews. Which dock is correct? Which dock will actually work, not burn out my Switch? And so here's like the something useful thing of the week from me to you, which is if you care about whatever the electronics are on a battery charged kind of system, like a laptop or Nintendo Switch or your phone, I'm usually going to buy the official power supplies only. There are exceptions. There's some good brands out there. There's some retailers that I trust to only carry good brands, but you hear about it a lot about batteries that are getting overcharged, even burning, because they end up getting charged with third-party chargers that are not great. So you have to be really careful, I think, about chargers. So I'm very discriminating about those. So I did buy a Nintendo Switch 2 official charger. I paid the big price, $35 for this charger. But because the charger is in there and it's going to be the high quality charger, I don't think it's going to burn out my Switch. I got the knockoff dock. It looks like just a straight, 6 or 8 inch, however wide the Switch is, dock. And it's kind of like a little J shape, and it's got like a little scoop along the length of it. So you kind of tilt your Switch into it so it rests, just barely rests, and kind of sits not quite upright, but close, and then docks in. So there's no like full wall to wall blocking of the dock that the Switch drops into in the middle. It's kind of like a little halvesy, it's like a quarter dock. I don't know how to explain it better than that, but it's a little dock that runs the length of the Switch or close to it. Has a USB-C that sticks up, and you'll dock it into it. And on the back, it's going to have the reviews said no Ethernet. I'm not playing competitive multiplayer game. I don't need the Ethernet. The Wi-Fi on it's fine. But it's got the HDMI out. And there was a couple of people in the Amazon reviews, and I liked them. I said, that's a helpful review. There's the one guy that's clearly like my kind of person. Like, we'd probably hang out on Threads. Andrew.m.b on Threads if you'd like to hang out and follow me there. But he posted like his battle station setup for the living room, and it's like this TV with a wall of like anime characters and Marvel posters and all this other stuff. Like it's definitely his room, totally legit. Looking photos to me. He took like 3 or 4 of them from different angles and showed how the Switch looks when it's docked into this weird little quarter zip dock. And he was like, yeah, this thing's perfect. He's like, no Ethernet, but 120 frames. Works great. Everything's wonderful. Like, you should buy it. It's a great price. And it was like $25 on sale. So we'll see. That's getting delivered soon. And that way, at night or whatever, I could go dock the Switch into my one on my OLED TV, and then really get that 120 frames per second on an OLED. And I think Hades is probably worth that, I think. Yeah. yeah, so that's been what's going on with me this week. I mean, unless you want to hear about the conference I went to. However, there was a ton of news. I don't think we're going to cover everything. What I'd like to do is cover a couple of quick hits, a couple of quick hit stories, and then two longer things I want to talk about. And instead of just talking about what I'm going to talk about, why don't we just talk about it? The PlayStation franchise rewards program launch came out. If you remember, here on this very show, months ago now, I don't even remember when it was. I don't remember what episode it was. We talked about how PlayStation Stars was ending. PlayStation Stars was a rewards program that PlayStation had. It's like, hey, if you play a bunch of PlayStation games and buy a bunch, but also do small things inside of games, you earn points. You get PlayStation Stars, or PlayStation Moon Bucks, as I like to call them. So you get a bunch of PlayStation coins, and you could spend them on stuff, and you could redeem them for games. You could redeem them for virtual items. I think this came out when like people were still paying like millions of dollars for JPEGs on Twitter or whatever. People were really into buying these digital assets. It didn't last, did it? But you could convert it into real things. You could buy, real digital licenses of things anyway. You could buy games using PlayStation Stars points. You could buy PlayStation Credit, which then you could turn into games. And so that's what I did when they announced that program was ending. I just cashed it all out in a PlayStation Credit. And then when my PlayStation Plus Extra subscription just came up due, it sucked it all out of there last month. Well, they've released the new program. The new program has come out that they've said like, hey, this is the new thing. And what it is actually kind of great, I think. Like, we'll see. Healthy skepticism. But from the PlayStation blog this week, Ghost of Tsushima players can now unlock special Ghost Rewards merchandise for purchase. So this is the first thing that they're launching, and they're calling it franchise rewards. So basically, you can buy commemorative merchandise celebrating your in-game achievements. So, for example, if you've earned the Platinum Trophy in Ghost of Tsushima by the end of this year, December 31st, 2025, you can unlock a selection of limited edition merchandise. Oh, and it says you can say players who have earned the Mono no Aware gold or living legend. So you don't actually have to get the Platinum Trophy. You can just get the pretty high-end gold trophy. I'm not sure if that gold trophy is just beat the game, but Platinum, obvious, you got everything. And then you can buy one of two things. So Destiny has been doing this for a long time. Destiny 2, where you unlock certain in-game achievements, usually related to their seasons and their higher end content that was more difficult to do. Then you can unlock stuff. And you've seen me here on the show. I don't have it on today. If you're watching on video on Spotify or on YouTube, if you're just listening to me on any other podcast app, thank you. I hope the audio is fantastic. I try to make it great. But I do wear, if you follow me on any other socials, you'll see me in this shirt sometimes that I got from Destiny 2. It's like a dark blue shirt. It's got gold inscription on it. And I don't remember what it was. It was some like, hey, you kind of did everything in a season. Like I just grinded out and kind of did everything that was of a certain level. And they have ones that are crazy on Destiny 2, where it's like, oh, be the first person or first people within 48 hours after a raid to beat a raid, which is very difficult to do. And then you can buy like a bomber jacket with the raid symbol on the sleeve. And I was like, okay, that's a little much. But the t-shirt was great. It was like, hey, you have been here to do all of these things, and here's your achievements in games. Sure, but you can buy this shirt. And the shirt's not inexpensive. It's a nice t-shirt, but you could customize the emblem on the side. And it was like $30. Probably was shipping as like $35. So is that expensive for a t-shirt? Yeah, I guess so. For like a non-design, it's not a fancy shirt. So it's a little expensive, but it was a cool commemoration. I only did one ever, and I still wear that shirt. Like, if that's a cool game shirt, like you did something, you like stuck with this game, you loved it so much that You beat all of these little in-game achievements, and if you want to spend some money, we'd like to commemorate it with you. Well, now that's what PlayStation seems like they're going to be doing. So they're selling two things if you beat or platinum Ghost of Tsushima, which is not the new one that comes out in like 5 days or 3 days or something like that. That's Ghost of Yotei. Ghost of Tsushima has been out for years. So you got time. You got time to. So it's weird that they kind of aren't doing this with Ghost of Yotei. They're doing it with the existing game that's been out for forever. But Ghost of Tsushima, not only has it been out forever, and not only have so many people already beaten it and gotten the gold trophy or even the platinum trophy, so the market is pretty wide. So it's like, what's the goal, Sony? Like, is the goal to get people that have like beaten the Ghost of Tsushima to buy the merch? Or is the goal to get them to buy the new game and then buy the merch? If Ghost of Yotei doesn't have new merch achievements that look like this or better for Ghost of Tsushima, we'll talk about what you can actually buy here in a second. But like, if they both don't have that, I'm going to go like, what is going on? Because why wouldn't you want people buying the new game? Yes, obviously, there's a much bigger addressable market of people that have already played the old game that are eligible maybe to buy this. Anyway, let's talk about the things. It's a commemorative pen. That's one option. Only for players who have risen to the ultimate challenge and achieved the Living Legend Platinum Trophy. So you can only get the pen, which looks like it's got a samurai mask and some colors and some cool, like, if you're into pens, okay. Like that's cool. For me, that I don't even know what I would do with that. You put it on a backpack and travel, it's going to fly off in TSA or something. So you're just going to lose it. Where do people put pens? On lanyards? Is it a piece of flair? They're selling a shirt though. The shirt's probably like, that's my speed. Like, let's get the shirt because it's commemorative and exclusive shirt. And it recognizes and links to your specific like hard fought achievement in a game. I really like this stuff. Like, I think that's very cool versus just buying a shirt from somewhere else, especially if it's nice quality. So this is a commemorative t-shirt available only for players who have achieved the, I don't know if this is like in Japanese, Mono no Aware. I don't know if it's Mono no Aware. I don't know if it's said that way. Gold trophy, so not the platinum. That's probably just beating the game. That's probably the one you get for rolling credits. With a connected PlayStation account by December 31st, 2025. And you're going to pay $30 for it. So the price is very similar to Destiny 2. And of course, Sony owns Bungie. So they're going like, hey, what can we do? And Bungie's like, well, we sell a lot of shirts. Everybody gets together for an all hands. Anybody? We got prices rising everywhere. Any way we can offset some of these costs? Have you considered the shirts? Have you thought about what would happen if we would just sell shirts for people who are beating these games? There's a lot of people that beat these games. How about some new threads? This shirt looks good. I don't know what it says here. Like, I can't tell what the image is in here, but it's a black shirt. It's got a little gold image across the chest, a little thing on the side. Looks like one of the icons from the game on the side. And on the back, just a little white Ghost of Tsushima logo. And there's something down in the bottom right corner of the shirt that probably says like Sucker Punch or something. I don't know. Can't see it. There's not a lot in the image. But it's a good look. Like, I would wear that shirt just hanging around. Like, it doesn't look, it's not like it's got a 14-foot logo that says I beat Ghosts of Tsushima on it. It looks like a tasteful design to the shirt. This might make me go back and beat the game. I got really far in it. I might go beat the game. I might do that. So I think that's like, that is really, if you were going to replace like a digital rewards program and they go, where can we put our focus to make sure that people are beating these games and then spending more money? Like, would you like to spend your own more money to celebrate your own game? And if so, has PlayStation got a deal for you? It's the PlayStation Franchise Rewards Program. There's other coming. There's more coming. I don't know which games are coming next, but there's more. Are you going to buy these shirts? I've bought one. like I'm the target market at this point. Like I played enough Destiny to unlock enough kind of single player. I mostly played Destiny solo. I did get into a clan. I bought an Astro A50 headset so I could talk to people and we could do dungeons. But as a dad of two young kids, I'm not going to raid very often. Raids, until you get good at them, are hours long commitments. I might play games for hours, but committing to them, don't interrupt me. I'm on, it's like I'm going to get on a 4-hour phone call at work. Well, during work hours, like that's fine. I don't know if it's fine, but I would get it, 4 hours. But I'm not going to raid like that. But they had enough single player achievements in there that it made sense. And Ghost of Tsushima is a single player game outside of the optional multiplayer component. So, yeah, to me, well, it was pretty good. There's a ton of other news that I think I just want to go over and talk about deeper in like one of the bonus podcast episodes. Like I almost don't want to go through it all. Like I feel like Hades and this PlayStation Rewards launch is pretty good because I kind of need to get to this next thing. There's two things I want to catch. Maybe we'll talk about the rest in the bonus podcast. Number one, we've talked about difficulty modes already today. We've got one more to talk about, which is Ninja Gaiden 4. So we've already talked about Ninja Gaiden last week about how, there was a difficulty mode that they had in the original Ninja Gaiden game on the Xbox, like 2002, where Ninja Gaiden, historically tough as nails game, just really, really, really difficult. And they made a hard mode to make it even harder. And they made an easy mode to make it easy, but they would make you wear like a ribbon or a bow that was like pink. And it was designed to shame you, to embarrass you, to give you an option to play on easy mode, but to kind of make you feel bad about it. And it kind of genderized it as well. It's like, oh, you're like a girl if you, and it's like, well, you know what? Things have changed in the last 24 years. Like everybody plays video games now. Easy mode is not shameful. It's accessible, right? And for people that want to play tough as nails games, like Hades 2, tough as nails. I don't know if it's harder than Ninja Gaiden 4. I don't think it is. But it's still difficult. And it's designed that you're going to fail a lot. But they put in a mode that does not shame you, that makes it more accessible for people that are not as dexterous, right? Well, Ninja Gaiden 4 is dropping the gendered shaming of easy mode, and they're not even calling it easy mode. So this comes to us from pushsquare.com. Apparently there was an interview with the director with IGN. I found it here on pushsquare.com, where they talk about the new mode, and it is customizable difficulty, and it's called Hero Mode. Thank you. It's Hero Mode. So if you choose Hero Mode in Ninja Gaiden 4, you're automatically going to have a bunch of assists. So he says, quote, auto guard, auto dodge, and another assist that allows you to perform complicated actions and moves more easily. So you can toggle on whether you want auto dodge, whether you want auto guard, right? And you can change the difficulty at any time without any restrictions and no penalties. I don't know if they actually mean no penalties. The real question is if they have a trophy or an achievement for beating it on hard mode without changing the difficulty. That used to be the thing. They would have achievements that would specifically say, you got to beat it on hard mode by starting on hard and ending on hard. If you change the difficulty, you'll never get that achievement. So this one says that that's not going to happen. He didn't say that specifically, but I wonder. But yeah, auto block, auto evade and dodge, auto assist, which helps you like perform complex combos. There is a auto heal, apparently, with a gradual healing after taking damage, and then some helping with the platform assist. So, look, if you're looking forward to a tough as nails games, Ninja Gaiden 4, Gaiden is going to bring it to you. So that news is good to know, because I don't think I would ever buy another Ninja Gaiden game ever again. But they're designing that mode kind of like Hades. They also have like a training mode in there now. where it's supposed to kind of train you. Here's what they'll look for. They probably have like set up scenarios where you can kind of try blocking and dodging and things like that. So, okay, yeah, it's pretty good. I guess I was looking for that. I don't know if I'm buying Ninja Gaiden 4, but I probably would never even consider it without knowing this. And I do play some tough games, but I want options in there. Okay, that brings us to Community Spotlight. I know there was a lot of other news this week. I didn't even talk about the new Forza game. I didn't talk about Saros yet, which is the sequel to, or I don't know if it's a sequel to, I actually don't know if it's a direct sequel to Returnal or not. It's the new game from Housemarque, which made Returnal, among other games. But that came out on the PlayStation State of Play, and I haven't even watched it yet. I'm still catching up. Yeah, being out, starting at like 6 a.m. and going to way late in the evening at this work conference has like left my time to check out video games severely compromised. So we'll talk about that some other times. I don't want to just like, act like I even watched the thing and then talk about it. We'll just talk about it later. Catch it next week, or we'll catch it in the bonus episode of the podcast, which you can find at patreon.com/TheAndyBShow, and become a subscriber. You'll get all the bonus or early access episodes, as I call them. I'm probably just going to change it to call it bonus episodes, because I don't think I've had any problem like getting these episodes out. This is probably like episode 19 or 20 of the show so far, and it's kind of a dream breeze to be able to just talk about video games every week. I really enjoy it. I hope you do. Hey, thanks for listening. By the way, if you're a listener in Canada to the podcast, thank you for listening to America's Hat, our friends to the north, milk and a bag aficionados. Just love you up there. Canadians, 0.6% of all my podcast listeners, non-YouTube, are from Canada. So I hope you enjoy the show. Thank you for listening. Appreciate you. Also, I do want to call out, someone reached out to me on an old video that I had put on TikTok. So if you follow me there on TikTok, it's the thing, it's andrew.m.b there on TikTok. But I put up a video as a clip from one of the earlier shows that says Battlefield needs a great single player campaign. Battlefield 6 needs a great single player campaign. Now, I said this prior to the beta coming out, where I played the beta and I kind of went, you know what, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it doesn't need a great, maybe this is enough. But I believed then, and I still believe now, that it does need a great single player campaign. Well, I posted that back June 30th. And months later, this dude, Michael A., sent me, I'm at the conference and I get a buzz on my phone. Michael A. says, "I come from the future," in all caps. And I said, "What message do you bring, Michael?" And he says, "There's a campaign trailer for Battlefield 6, and it dropped an hour ago." First of all, this is one of the best messages I've ever gotten on TikTok. I don't know if, Michael, if you're out there, if you're listening, thank you, buddy. Like, were you just listening to the show and you're like, if they ever drop it, I'm going to go tell them? Like, were you waiting? Was it kismet? Did the algorithm on TikTok just work so well that when it dropped, it fed you my old video, and then you were like, dude, I don't know. But he wasn't wrong. He was right. And what he did was bring me to this trailer, which is the Battlefield 6 official campaign trailer. And let me tell you something. It looks really good. Like, it kind of looks like what we hoped it would be, what I hoped it would be on the T and Execute. There's your team, your squad is up in a building, taking people out, flying in a helicopter. There's a ton of military bro dialogue going on. We're calling out shots, but there's a bad guy that they show in here, and there's good guys, and we show the actors and we show them talking. We show landmarks that we care, that are interesting. And I'm like, are we Is this a Call of Duty-esque campaign? It wouldn't be Dagger without insurmountable odds. The whole world is going to look different for now. We're diving out of airplanes. We're in boats. We're in tanks. We're throwing drones in the air, calling shots, sniping, going door to door, blowing up landmarks. Is this a single player campaign for Battlefield 6? It sure looks like it. I got to tell you, I just saw somebody do a breach and clear in this trailer. If you're breaching and clearing, that's a single player campaign every time. They put some Rainbow Six in my Battlefield. So Battlefield 6, October 10th, like the game explosion is going on now. It will not stop. In a couple of days from the time that you might hear this, or maybe, depending on, a lot of people end up listening to it like a week after. Like, I don't really think I have to be that on top of the news based on the trends of when you all listen to the show. Like I got a couple of people that are hardcore that as soon as this show hits every day on Monday at 4 p.m. Centrals, when I schedule it to go out, y'all are watching and listening. Thank you. Share it. It's great. Thank you. And then a lot of you will like trickle in throughout the week. And then there's a bunch of folks kind of pulling up the rear. They're listening to last week's episode, or maybe they're batching episodes. Maybe they just catch a couple of episodes at a time when, they go for a walk or something. I don't know. Thank you for listening wherever and whenever you choose to do it. I appreciate it. But like, all the news doesn't need to be hot, I think. Like, I don't think you're coming to me going, when's Andrew going to have the news? I like to talk about the news. But I know you're not waiting for it from me. You're catching it somewhere else. But you like to hear my perspective and what I'm thinking about it. And I like to share it. And what I'd like to share is that we're in like game apocalypse time frame. October 2nd is Ghosts of Yotei, which, look, what's the rush? I still got Ghosts of Tsushima to beat. I got to get that shirt, man. I got to spend $30 plus $5.99 US shipping to get that shirt. It looks good. That's October 2nd if you want the new game, Ghosts of Yotei. October 10th at Battlefield 6, definitely getting it. I got like 3-4 people that are like, are you playing? I was like, I'm going to play. October 15th, Ball Pit. There's a Call of Duty coming, I guess. Is not enough. That's enough video games. I'm sure there's more that are coming out this year. I know that they just announced a bunch of stuff for Nintendo that's coming out. We covered it last week. But anyway, there's more games than you can handle. There's more games than I can handle. But we could talk about them every week and play some of them. So I hope you're going to have a great week. Play some games. Go talk to your friends and family. Follow me. Subscribe to the Patreon if you'd like to support the show. Patreon.com/The Andy B Show. And let me know what you think. Are you playing Hades 2? You going to get this Battlefield 6? Does the Ninja Gaiden hero mode make you feel better about life? Let me know. Appreciate you listening. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful time until I see you again.